Yeah, go ahead.
All civilians have been evacuated. Any armed soldiers down there are fair game. Be careful, Hayabusa.
Ninja Gaiden 3. My, how the series has gotten easier. Wow, I can actually play it now. No, but seriously, Ninja Gaiden 3 is much, much easier than any of the other games in the franchise. And it's accessible to anyone, so now that you know it's not that daunting task that the other games are, let's talk about how it looks. Ninja Gaiden 3 looks superb. The frame rate is solid, the textures are smooth, and the animations are fluid. It's everything you have come to expect from the series. Also, if you're new to the franchise, don't worry, it's pretty much a standalone story with nods to the other entries in the series. The storyline is the typical over-the-top extreme action save-the-world stuff, but the cutscenes and action are very entertaining. It's not a great storyline, but it is interesting and I did enjoy it. The voice acting is well done and I liked most of the characters in the game. Sure, there's your standard anime Japanese over-the-top ones, but it's really part of the experience of these types of games, and overall the story was pretty solid, with the exception of the ending, which I found to be a bit anticlimactic. Gameplay has changed a lot, and not at all in some ways. Enemies are far easier to defeat now, and they won't do nearly as much damage to you as they used to. The game is also much more linear than previous games, with less emphasis on puzzle solving. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm sure the elite Ninja Gaiden fans will be unhappy that the game is so much easier, but for us that cried every time we tried to play the other games, it's a welcome change. The enemies may be easier, but there's a lot of them to fight, and I loved all the blood and violent effects. It made combat extremely satisfying. Though I can see that people will complain at how easy the game is, but don't fret. Knowing Team Ninja and their love of porting and remaking games, if you want a harder game, why don't you just wait for Ninja Gaiden Sigma 3? The platforming is a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed the exploration and just how cinematic the action was. Climbing up walls and stealth killing is a lot of fun, and again, gave the game such a cinematic and visceral feel. The camera shows off the combat quite well, though at times it may mess up, but for the most part, the game looks like a great action film, which is really cool. Levels are diverse, but the enemies are not. I wish there had been more enemy types in the game, but still, the levels were really great and had plenty of variety to them. I love the new slow-motion combat ability where you slice through an enemy's bones. It's downright brutal and tons of fun. There's a much smaller selection of weapons this time, but to be honest, they're all fun to use, and the bow is awesome this time around. I love the lock-on and slow-motion mechanics employed in this entry of the franchise. It seems the focus of this game was to create a huge epic action-adventure game with tons of cool scenes and awesome-looking combat that's tons of fun to play. I liked the huge drop in difficulty as I play games for fun, not to tear my hair out in frustration. If you always wanted to play Ninja Gaiden but were put off by the heart-stopping, stroke-inducing difficulty, now's definitely time to play. This is also the first time there's been multiplayer in a Ninja Gaiden game that pits two clans of ninjas against each other, and while this sounds really cool, as you can stealth kill enemies and do some of the platforming from the single-player campaign, it's not struck with the same level of precision as the single-player storyline is. It feels clumsy and unfinished. There's moments of fun, and it's really cool slicing a friend in two or beating someone online and making a really cool ninja, but honestly, it's really clunky. Also, at this time, I could only find a handful of games to play in. Ninja Gaiden 3 is a fun action thrill ride that's sure to get your blood pumping and give you a good time. As long as you don't expect it to be extremely difficult and don't mind it being forgiving and easy, with such high production values and a lengthy story mode lasting around 8 hours, this is a really great game to play. Previous Ninja Gaiden games were so difficult that it was like having a knife shoved up your rectum. This time, it's like a quiet pat on the shoulder and Ria Hayabusa gently rocking you back and forth, reassuring you that it's all going to be okay. It may get slightly repetitive at times, but it sure got some kick-ass action. Thanks for watching my review. Please rate, comment, and subscribe.